heard Billy Carson or Phil Valentine or Dr. Hemmett, Bobby Hemmett rather. I've never heard them do any reference to Dr. York. Now, and I've heard Brother Polite and all them do reference to him. And I just wonder, it's so many different people out here spreading knowledge, and they give accolades to each other. Some do, just like on the Black Magic 363. He's constantly got new faces on there, and and some of those faces of people, sometimes 7, 8 people on there, and they are in contact with each other. They're in the circle. But I know that the Watkins always give honor to Dr. York, but I'm just saying, does any of the other artists, historians, do they ever speak of Dr. York, as far as you know? Other than Mr. Farrakhan.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Farrakhan did. I'm trying to think. The guy Zulu, Shabazz.
Farrakhan's enough for me. Since you said that, I take his word. I take his word any day. You know.
Yeah. Also, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, before he passed, he said something about Malachi York, and also in one of the speeches where he's talking about, we don't need to be scared of reptilians and different aliens coming. We got a damn devil right here in our midst. Talking about the white man. So his reference about we don't need to be scared of reptilians is directly talking about Malachi York. So that's one. And then also Bobby Hemmett did mention about Malachi York. Bobby Hemmett has a whole a video where he's like dogging Dr. Malachi York out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he's like just talking crazy about it. Yeah, sarcastic. But see, honestly, this is just what I heard, is that's the reason that he had, because the elders went after he said something about that, he had, and after that he kind of chilled out, and then has said positive things about Malachi York. Also, Dr. Phil Valentine, he mentioned Malachi York too. So Dr. Phil Valentine, a lot of the teachers don't mix well with Malachi York. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Malachi York has a consciousness that believes that it's bigger than just the program that everybody else is in. What I mean by that is, if he's in a realm full of black activists that teach consciousness, whether it be Africa or African culture or African heritage, black nationalism, different things like that, everybody is still up under, whatever religion that they may believe. They may believe in Egyptology. They may call on Osiris and Isis and all these Oshun and these different African gods. It's still some type of spiritual system that they are believing in, that they have a kind of secondary type of role or subsidiary or subservient role to whoever the clergymen in their specific religious belief. There are still operations within a religious belief where in that religious belief you are just a regular person, but Malachi York inside of his mind does not have that belief. Malachi York inside of his mind, in his consciousness, he is 100% believing that he's an angelic being, that he's the angel Michael, that he's Melchizedek. And that puts him in his consciousness into a different type of category, which is not easy to play along with if you have ego as a man and you're trying to be the it person in that lane. So that's the reason why a lot of these leaders don't really like Malachi York, or they don't really gel well with Malachi. So, because in order for you to acknowledge, like, a lot of the things that Malachi York says are found in just the generalization of what's being taught by all of these different black leaders. All of these different black leaders teach Egyptology the same way Malachi York does, but Malachi York does it with a twist. It's a certain type of way when he teaches, he starts to assert himself into the picture that you're thinking back on as far as those beings that are going back millions upon millions of years. He's saying, yeah, I was there. I'm one of those beings that was there. So it's a weird claim to be claiming that you're an angel, but either you are an angel and we just are crazy just to not believe it instantly because, you know, who's to say that he is or isn't? But to me, he's proven it. But I'm saying to other people, you know, he's just a crazy dude that says crazy stuff. You know, so that's why I think that it's just weird for different people to try to have some type of cooperative, easygoing type of connection between their ego and Malachi York's ego. It's like they can't see themselves up under somebody else. So it's like in his consciousness, if he was to believe what Malachi York is saying, well, then I got to get down with what Malachi York is saying, and then Malachi York is like, he's the premier person, he's the man of the times, he's all of this type of stuff. So that's why they don't want to do that, because, you know, what comes with it.
I heard this is the second time I've heard this video, and they played it again on Facebook, I think, and it's a video. It's short. It's a video of John Henry Clark calling Minister Farrakhan a faker. He said he's a faker. And they're saying, and other people are coming out saying that because they're saying that he, back in the 80s when he was on the rise, I don't know how much money the nation had and how much money he had access to, but they said he rented out the, what's that big stadium in New York City, the Madison Square Garden. He rented that out for $25,000, which was a lot of money. It's cheap now, if you was renting for $25,000. But then they said that he had to be getting the money from some white association. Mm-hmm. So they said he was a faker because he's not. They said no way they sold enough bean pies. No way they sell enough fish and bean pies to rent out Madison Square Garden for $25,000. And they said the money had to be coming in from a source that was not like it's just maybe Donald Trump or somebody was sponsoring them back in the time. And I've heard that the KKK did do something on behalf of for Elijah Muhammad. And I don't know.
Yeah, Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was.
They came together. And it was like a truce because they felt like they were objectively, they believed that they had the same type of goals in mind as far as separation. So there was some type of like truce between them. That's what Elijah Muhammad was going for, and that's kind of, I mean, it's really weird to even say this, but the KKK respects the Nation of Islam. They might not agree with them, and they might still look at them as a nation full of monkeys. But they respect the Nation of Islam.
Well, that's because the nation was willing to meet them with resistance, with eye for an eye. Yeah, that's all it was. They didn't respect the non-violent things. That's why Trump is. He's using his power, and he don't care. He's stepping over people, stepping on people, crushing people, and but they won't. They're not. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but they're not threatening people like Russia. They're not threatening Russia in no kind of way. So resistance is not going to. You don't respect that soft thing. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they call Minister Farrakhan a faker, and I've heard it before, and I've heard uh not like him too. Phil Valentine say some negative stuff about Farrakhan, and I just believe that's because and Bobby Hemmett, same thing. Maybe you can fill me in on some of that stuff why they would say that, but my own opinion is they don't command enough people
Right.
on the
Exactly.
mainstream, and they don't speak truth to power directly. They go underground. Everything they're doing is still underground, and people tuned in, but they're not coming straight out and calling a spade to before the
Right.
public, before the world. But if there's something else I'm missing, fill me in on it.
Well, I mean, Minister Farrakhan is a phenomenal speaker. He is a great, he commands the stage, and the presence that he has on stage is, he has the charisma and charismatic characterization of a pastor, but it is Islamic. He has the suit and tie dynamic of the straight tie versus the bow tie and the suits and everything. That's the flashiness perception of the pastors that are behind the pulpit. The difference about Minister Farrakhan is he doesn't speak fairy tales. And I don't mean that about the pastor speaking fairy tales necessarily, but I'm saying the pastors give you a feel good, lull you to sleep type of message. But Minister Farrakhan has like political and social commentary in his fieriness while he's talking. Not only is he talking about the political things that go on in the world from our vantage point of being the ex-black slaves of America, and also how we're still, in this downtrodden type of, situation, and how we're like the still the sleeping giant. This is kind of where Farrakhan, you know, asserts and inserts into us that spiritual power when he's like what I would consider banging on the pulpit, like how when he's driving home certain parts of what he's saying, and he emphasizes it with a inflection of, emphasizing like an exclamation point, certain things that he says with great stress, certain things that he says with great urgency. Sometimes he talks like it's an emergency. Like the way Farrakhan puts things into our minds, it is very spiritually revolutionary. It is, and it's reached the black people the best, better than Malachi York, better than Phil Valentine, better than Bobby Hemmett, better than any of the type of people that we've had out there that are trying to wake us up. Minister Farrakhan has gotten the greatest connection to the usual black Christian. And the reason why is because that package that he came in, it's for that. It's for the majority of us that are sleeping the spell to step over into that consciousness. And that he's like the doorway out of the first step of awareness, which is the black church. Like that's the first step of awareness. Then after the black church, he would come to the nation of Islam.
Now say that one more time. Say that again.
The first step in awareness is the black
Yeah.
church.
Yeah, say
So
the way you said it. Say it one more
because
time.
the reason I'm saying that, the first step in awareness is the black church. That's the very first place that we learn about like God and things that are outside of, our usual three-dimensional, we see here, we understand that there's a working mechanism of God in relation to, his son, and there's a redemptive type of, so we all have the encoding in us to understand the truth, to understand the Israelite part of the doctrine, to understand the Islamic part of the doctrine, the coming to the shores of North America as a slave, as a peddler. That's Master Muhammad. All of that is talking about Ishmael. All of those things tie into biblical prophecy too, and Quranic prophecy. So that's all of those things are still, and see, even like Bobby Hemmett is in relation to the indigenous black people over here in America. Also the like Pan-Africanism. Also you would have like Dr. Umar Johnson or the guy that did the Hidden Colors, Tariq Nasheed. All of these different people, like they're all still, very conscious, but Farrakhan to me is the most rallying of the massive body of us.